Folks, welcome to another Buckmaster's Big Buck Blueprint. I got my good buddy from Kentucky, Central Kentucky, Brad Poynter. Welcome to the podcast today, my friend.
How you doing, bud?
Good. Is Chris Stapleton your cousin?
Maybe distant.
I tell you what, man, I love his music, but you've got a heck of a story to tell. Talk to me a little bit about what you do for a living.
I'm actually in construction, build houses. I got an Amish crew that goes around with me everywhere, so
Really?
we just frame houses and build dreams, man.
Well, it also gives you a chance to kind of get out in the woods then, doesn't it?
It does. Allows me a little bit of time.
Well, talk to me. How long you been hunting?
Probably since I was I think first year I ever hunted, I was 11 years old.
11 years old.
95.
Your daddy or your granddaddy get you going?
Well, it's actually an uncle.
Really?
So Dad hunted some, more of a rabbit hunter back then. Then I had an uncle that was pretty big into deer hunting. Got me into that.
That's cool. That's cool. You know, it's funny. My dad, he was just all about sports. He never hunted, and but my grandfather on my mama's side, he's the one that got me going. And my dad's brother was a big hunter. So, you know, I always try to figure out who gets you started. But it looks like you've had the bug for a long time.
Yeah. It's pretty much what my life revolves around.
You know, I tell everybody it's a sport. You might not want to do it because when you do it and like it, you're addicted to it.
Very bad.
All right, talk to me about Kentucky. Man, have I seen some big deer come out of Kentucky. I mean,
there's been some monsters hit the ground.
I mean, what do you think the unique thing about Kentucky is that makes these deer so big up there?
I think it's a perfect mixture of, say, like agricultural farmland versus woods. And man, a lot of people's letting deer go nowadays. It ain't just if it's brown, it's down anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's still a few of them, but I mean, for the most part, I think it's that part. And plus, we're only allowed one buck a year. I think that really helps too. I
agree with you on that. So, how many acres are you hunting? You know, on year in and year out.
I've got right at 650.
Do you?
That I can hunt, you know, different spots.
I got you. Now, what is your food sources primarily there on those 650?
Well, some agricultural, as far as beans, corn, but mostly, man, it's mostly just habitat, acorns, and a few food plots.
Gotcha. But you do have the soybeans and the corn, and that puts a lot of weight on those deer up there. They're pretty big deer, aren't they?
On a few, yeah.
I got you.
Yeah,
all right. Now, do you like to hunt all weapons, or are you pretty much a bow hunter? Talk to me about that.
I mean, I'm probably 80-20.
Okay.
As far as deer, 80-20. Now, I'm big in predator, duck, stuff like that, but most deer, mostly bow.
Okay. All right. If, you know, somebody's listening to this podcast, you've taken some great deer over your lifetime. We're going to talk about a particular one you shot. What do you think are the keys to your success there hunting your 650 acres?
Luck.
You got to be more than luck, but I mean, you're putting in some time. So, what would you say were the key things that make you successful each year?
Knowing where to be, when to be, and when to stay out is a big thing. We try not to overpressure anything. We got some stands we might not hunt once a year.
Okay.
Bounce around. Trail cameras is a big thing. I ain't gonna lie. They could be the root of all evil, or they can be the success of your hunt. Because they can keep you out of the woods when you shouldn't have been out of the woods.
Well, then that's a good tip, because what you're just saying right there is you're using your trail cameras to kind of check your inventory, but you're
That's all I use my trail cameras for.
But you're also not getting in there when you're not supposed to be, and that way you're getting the wind right, correct?
Yes, and I'm bad about not. If I'm gonna push a deer, I won't hunt it. I'll hunt him where I got a 10% chance versus a 90% chance of bumping.
That makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense. A lot of people, it's hard for them to hunt that wind right sometimes. You know, they might only have a certain time, but all you got to do is bump him once or twice, and he's not going to be there anymore.
And old deer don't get old being dumb.
No. Now, do you have certain deer each year that you're getting on trail camera that you know is a 3-year-old, 4-year-old? I mean, do you kind of set your sights on one or two?
Usually, but Man, since I changed the way I hunted 3 years ago, the weapon I use,
Mm-hmm.
my priorities just went down a little bit on that upper size.
I got you.
So
Well, let's
it ain't
talk.
got to be a monster no more for me. I do like a mature deer.
Gotcha. Let's talk a little bit about that. I know you like to bow hunt and you compound hunt, for a while, but now you gotten into the longbow business. Talk to me about that. How'd you get involved in shooting a longbow?
Well, about I don't know. I've got one buddy that he done it for a little while, and he got me to buy one, and I've been hooked ever since. Which I was off and on probably for 10 years, but the last 3 years I've been pretty exclusive to a recurve or a longbow.
Really? So
Yeah, it's just
talk to me about practice there. I mean, how far a shot do you feel good with a longbow or a recurve?
I'm confident, very confident out to 25. I can shoot 40. As far as being confident, 25 is where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'd shoot a deer at 20. I'd rather have him at 5.
Yeah.
I mean, just less stuff could happen.
Are you shooting with a tab or fingers?
I am shooting with a glove, shooting glove.
Okay, shooting glove. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
I lose tabs every time I turn around.
I got you. Well, when you've made that commitment to that longbow and you've made that commitment of taking that shot 25 yards and under, then that means your scouting has to be perfect.
My world revolves in a 30-yard circle, 15 yards each way of me.
Yep.
And that has been a major change for me.
Well,
it's made a better hunter out of me, to be honest.
No question. I mean, that's the thing about bow hunting. I mean, these compounds, you can shoot if you're good up to 50 or 60 yards. But when you go, but when you go to that recurve, you just brought it all the way down to take an ethical shot.
Yes.
So
you will start paying attention to sign way more than you used to.
Bingo. And that tree stand has to be in the perfect tree, correct?
Yes. And I hunt closer to the ground now. I know it sounds crazy. Because once they're closer, my shot angles are better if I'm closer to the ground. Say 12 feet, 14 feet.
Really? So you're hunting 12 to 14 foot?
For most of my stands. I got a few that's a little taller, but not a lot.
I got you. Now, you hunting ridge land? Is it hilly there or is it flat land? What's
It's rolling hills.
Rolling hills?
Yeah, rolling hills for the most part.
I got you. So different times of the year. When's y'all's rut up there?
It usually starts. Halloween's a magic day.
Is it really?
Changes in Halloween to say November the 14th, 12th. I'd say peak is around that November 8th to 12th.
When do you specialize? I mean, because I know the season just came in up there the 1st of September, didn't it?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. First full weekend of September is always Kentucky's opening.
So when have you had the most success?
50-50. I probably got as many opening day deer as I do rut deer.
Really? How about that? Well, let's talk about this particular deer that you've just taken. Tell me the history behind this deer.
This deer we've watched, I know for 3 years that I can tell you 100%. So it's on a spot that I've had 5 years, and he just hadn't hit the radar to the last 3.
Mm-hmm.
And particularly after the last 2. But last year I was on him good, and he left, say middle October, came back 1st November for rut, and it broke one whole side of his horns off.
Really?
And so a little disheartened. So I let that deer walk 2 or 3 times. He started acting like a 2-year-old. I guess he knowed. So we let him go, and we've got several more there we're hunting too. But this year when he showed back up, is almost like magic. He would be consistent for 2 or 3 weeks, then go 2 or 3 weeks and not be consistent. But every time we had a north wind, he would be right there. I mean, every time.
Really? Now, did he grow? Did he grow this year on you compared to last year?
I would say 15 inches, guessing.
Wow.
It wasn't no like major jump, but it was a good jump.
Did he have kickers and drop tines last year?
He had 3 drop tines last year, but they was all kind of spindly. He broke them off quick.
Gotcha. So he did bring back that characteristic this year in his rack. Wow.
Yeah, and the same kicker off his G2 on his left side.
I got you. Well, talk
Yeah.
to me about the week prior, or walk me right through from the days. How many days did you hunt him before you got him this year?
Open in the afternoon.
Oh my gosh, it was that quick.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't hunt mornings because I'm bump deer out of the field to go into the stand.
Uh-huh.
So we just hunt afternoons.
So I assume you had your trail camera pictures of him before the season opened?
Well, yes, but he hadn't been there for a week. But we also went through a hot spurt, and I had a bunch of southwest winds.
Mm-hmm.
And then opening day, we got like a 20-degree drop and a northeast wind, which got my hopes really high.
Yeah.
But yeah, it worked out great. I mean, northeast wind, I was deer, 20-degree drop, 30% no humidity drop. I mean, everything was just magical at the afternoon. There was deer everywhere.
Was it really? So when did you
Yes.
first see him that afternoon? Walk me through when you first saw him before you take the shot and everything.
All right, so the stand I'm in right there, I'm 20 yards off a road. So I watch him come across the road and come into me, just face me just dead on. And I probably got 15 more minutes of, legal shooting light left when this happens. And he walks in, facing me the whole time. And by the time he gets about 15 yards, he kind of glances out in the field real hard, which so put you in perspective. I've got a field and a corner of two roads basically, and then a big holler right here. So all my deer is coming across this acorn flat that I'm sitting on, say 50 yards by 50 yards into this field.
Gotcha.
So he's doing like normal, coming down the trail through there, and he stops about 15 yards, looks out in that field, and I just kind of glance over, and the second shooter that I would have shot that afternoon was in the field, and started walking in. And the first time I've ever seen this, opening day of bow season, they meet and they clash.
Really?
I mean, hard enough that it echoes through the hollers. And then both of them run out in the field, and I'm sitting there thinking, well, there went my chance. They get out there, and the other deer runs off, and this deer turns around and comes back just as pretty as you please and gives me a 10-yard corner and away shot.
Now, do you stand up when you shoot, or are you sitting down when you're shooting?
Yeah, I was standing up the whole time.
Really? I got you. So he came back in.
Where I'm in a thick spot. I can't really shoot from sitting anyway.
Uh-huh. I got you. A lot of people like to shoot sitting down. I'm one of them. But,
Yeah.
you're standing up watching the whole thing.
Every bit of it.
All right, so when you shot him, what did he do?
So I shot him. He mule kicked, almost kicked the stand out of the tree. I mean, I've never seen one mule kick that high in my life.
Really?
And he just makes a little loop and falls 30 yards.
No kidding. So he was in sight where he fell.
Oh, yeah, 5 seconds after
Wow.
the shot, he was done.
That is so cool.
I mean,
But that was what was the other buck? I mean, when you saw this buck, you knew that was him with the drop tines and stuff.
oh, yeah. Now, he's 10. We call him wide 8 because until this year, he never had G4,
Uh-huh.
which ain't 2 inches long a piece.
Right.
But he's probably 20 inches wide, probably 12-inch G2s, 10-inch G3s.
Wow.
I mean, he's a really good deer.
So the deer that was with him, is he as good or better than the deer you got?
Well, after I got him down, I may have just misjudged that other one, but I still think this one, he's the better deer.
But you got another one for next year that could be as good or better than that one, right?
Hopefully, but he may be a year older than the deer I killed.
Really?
So he may start going downhill.
I got you. Well, I know you got
That's only the second time I've ever got to see him in person.
Yeah. Well, that's the cool thing about it is you got memories of that deer. Maybe he'll be back next year.
It'd be a cool story.
Absolutely. Well, show me your rack. I know you got your rack there, don't you?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Let's look at this, folks. This is unbelievable. Look at that. With a long bow. Get you some of that. Kickers. Double drop. Wow, look at that. That is a toad. Got kickers down there on the bases.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of trash.
Yes, he does. That'll get you a lot of points right there. And I know old Hunter's going to be one of our BTR scorers going to be scoring that for you this week, right?
Yeah, Thursday evening, I'm meeting up with him.
Well, by gosh, I think he'll be everything you want him to be. But you got him with a long bow.
I did.
That is such a cool story. Brad, thank you for taking time for being on the podcast. And man, that is such an awesome deal. And, you know, just listening to how you got on that deer and your strategy. I mean, bottom line is these big deer, they're not lucky. You know, a lot of people shoot on luck, but you're putting time in it. You're not pressuring the deer. Your tree stands in the right spot, and you're being patient and getting in at the right time. And that's why you're successful.
I like to think of it. I still think there's a lot of luck in that.
There is. There's luck that he was there, but you were in there at the right time. You didn't go hunt on a south wind, did you?
No, sir.
There you go. So you knew the only chance you had was to hunt a north wind.
Yep, that was it, and just got lucky. Well, there you go. Lucky I got a north wind on opening day. So.
That's the luck part. Was just the wind was out of the north. You might have been the next day, but you're doing everything right, my friend, because you wouldn't have deer like that. And to shoot him with a longbow, congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
All right, I can't wait to hear what he scores.
Yeah, me too.
All right, buddy. Well, tell everybody up that way I said hello, and thanks again for being on the podcast, all right?
All right, buddy. Appreciate it.
You the best. All right, folks, that's another Buckmaster's Big Buck Blueprint. Y'all stay tuned. We got another one coming up pretty soon.